I moved into my first apartment the summer before my junior year of college. I was excited to finally have a place of my own, away from the dorms and their endless noise. The apartment complex was a collection of old, charming buildings nestled in a quiet, leafy neighborhood. It had character, which was just a polite way of saying it was slightly run down but affordable on a student's budget. I found a roommate through a campus bulletin board. Her name was Sarah, a fellow junior majoring in art history. We clicked immediately when we met at a campus cafe. Sarah was lively, with a contagious laugh and a habit of talking with her hands. She seemed perfect. We moved in together in late August. At first, everything was great. We decorated the apartment with thrift store finds and our own art. Sarah was a fantastic cook, and we often shared meals. But soon, strange things started happening. It began with small, almost unnoticeable incidents. I'd come home to find the lights on when I was sure I'd turned them off. Windows that I distinctly remembered closing would be open. Sarah and I laughed it off, blaming it on our busy schedules and absent-mindedness. Then one night, I woke up to the sound of soft sobbing. I lay still in bed, trying to identify where it was coming from. It was faint but unmistakable, and it seemed to be coming from Sarah's room. Concerned, I got up and knocked on her door. "Sarah, are you okay?" I asked softly. The sobbing stopped abruptly, replaced by an eerie silence. I knocked again, a bit louder this time. "Sarah?" No response. I hesitated before opening the door slightly. Sarah's room was empty. Her bed was neatly made, and there was no sign of her. I felt a chill run down my spine. Maybe she had gone out and left a recording on, I thought, trying to rationalize the situation. But it didn't make sense. I went back to bed, unsettled. The next morning, Sarah returned, explaining she had stayed overnight at her boyfriend's place. When I told her about the sobbing, she looked puzzled. "I didn't leave anything on. Maybe you were dreaming." I wasn't convinced but decided to drop it. A few days later, I came home late from the library. As I entered the apartment, I heard whispering. It sounded like a heated argument but in hushed tones. I froze, straining to catch the words. They were unintelligible, a constant stream of urgent, angry murmurs. "Sarah?" I called out, but the whispering continued. I followed the sound to the living room, where it abruptly stopped. The room was empty, the only noise the ticking of the old wall clock. I checked every corner, my heart pounding. Nothing. I felt a wave of nausea and unease. When Sarah came home, I told her about the whispering. She looked genuinely concerned. "Maybe we should get this place checked out," she suggested. "It's old, and who knows what kind of wiring issues it might have." We called the landlord, who sent an electrician the next day. He found nothing wrong with the wiring or the electrical appliances. "Everything looks fine," he said, scratching his head. "Could be rodents in the walls, though. That can make some weird noises." Sarah and I decided to ignore the disturbances, hoping they were just quirks of an old building. But things only got worse. One evening, I was alone, studying in my room. The apartment was eerily quiet. Suddenly, I heard a loud thud from the hallway. My heart jumped. I grabbed my phone and cautiously opened my door. There was nothing in the hallway. I checked the living room and the kitchen. Everything seemed normal until I noticed the attic door. It was slightly ajar. We never used the attic. It was a dusty, cramped space filled with cobwebs and forgotten furniture. Summoning my courage, I climbed the rickety ladder and peered inside. A stale, musty smell greeted me. I shone my phone's flashlight around, seeing nothing out of place. As I turned to leave, the beam of light caught something unusual on the far wall. It was a small, wooden box, tucked behind a stack of old newspapers. Curious, I retrieved it and brought it downstairs. Sarah came home just as I was about to open the box. "What's that?" she asked, eyeing it suspiciously. "I found it in the attic," I explained. "Let's see what's inside." We pried it open together. Inside were old photographs, yellowed with age. They depicted a family, a mother, a father, and a little girl, all smiling in front of what looked like our apartment building. There were also letters, brittle and fragile, written in elegant cursive. As we read the letters, a tragic story unfolded. The family had lived in our apartment during the 1940s. The little girl, Emily, had died in a tragic accident in the apartment. The parents were devastated and moved away shortly after. The last letter was from the mother, written in shaky handwriting. She spoke of hearing Emily's voice in the apartment, feeling her presence, and the unbearable grief that consumed her. Sarah and I looked at each other, chills running down our spines. "Do you think?" I started, but Sarah cut me off. "It must be her. Emily's spirit," she said quietly. "Maybe she's trying to communicate with us." That night, we decided to acknowledge Emily's presence. We sat in the living room, holding hands, and spoke to the empty air. "Emily, we know you're here," Sarah said gently. "We're sorry for what happened to you. If you need to tell us something, we're listening." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a soft, cold breeze swept through the room, ruffling our hair. The lights flickered, and the temperature dropped. I felt a chill that went bone deep. Suddenly, the sobbing started again, louder this time, echoing through the apartment. Sarah squeezed my hand, her face pale. "Emily, it's okay," glowing figure of a little girl. "Help me," she whispered, her voice a blend of fear and desperation. Mrs. Green asked, "Emily, who hurt you?" The figure pointed towards the hallway, where the attic ladder was. We followed her, our hearts pounding. Emily's spirit hovered near the attic door, her eyes wide with fear. We climbed into the attic, guided by her presence. There, behind a pile of old furniture, we found a hidden compartment in the floor. Inside was a small, rusted box. Mrs. Green pried it open, revealing a set of old, blood-stained clothes and a diary. The diary belonged to Emily's mother. As we read it, a horrifying truth emerged. Emily's father had been abusive. The mother detailed years of torment, culminating in the night Emily died. She wrote about an argument that turned violent, Emily's fatal fall, and the father's cold, calculated decision to cover it up. We were horrified. Emily's death wasn't an accident. It was murder. We decided to take the evidence to the authorities. The police reopened the case, and after a thorough investigation, the truth was revealed. Emily's father, who had passed away years ago, was posthumously implicated in her death. After the truth came out, the atmosphere in the apartment changed. The cold spots disappeared, the strange noises ceased, and the feeling of unease lifted. One night, I woke up to see Emily's spirit one last time. She smiled at me, a look of peace on her face, and then faded away. Sarah and I moved out at the end of the semester. We couldn't stay in a place with such a dark history. But we left knowing we had helped bring justice to Emily and freed her spirit from its torment. The experience left a lasting impact on us. It taught us the importance of listening, of acknowledging the unseen, and of confronting the past. We learned that sometimes, the dead need help from the living to find peace. And as for our friendship, it only grew stronger. Sarah and I remained close, bonded by the harrowing but ultimately rewarding experience. We never forgot Emily, and every year on the anniversary of her death, we lit a candle in her memory, honoring the little girl whose tragic story had changed our lives forever. Samantha was ecstatic when she received the acceptance letter from Crescent University. The excitement of moving to a new city, meeting new people, and living independently for the first time was exhilarating. After a long drive, she arrived at the university's dormitory, a tall, old building that had seen better days. Her room assignment was room 303. The room was small but cozy, with 2 single beds, 2 desks, and a large window that overlooked the campus courtyard. Samantha's roommate, Claire, was already there, unpacking her belongings. "Hey! You must be Samantha," Claire said with a warm smile. "I'm Claire." Samantha smiled back. "Nice to meet you, Claire. Excited to start this new chapter?" "Absolutely," Claire replied. "I hope we get along well." Over the next few weeks, Samantha and Claire developed a strong bond. They attended classes together, explored the campus, and shared late-night conversations. Everything seemed perfect until one night, when strange things began to happen. It started with small things. Samantha noticed her textbooks were not where she left them. Her desk lamp flickered occasionally, even though the bulb was new. She dismissed these occurrences as stress-related forgetfulness, but the incidents grew more frequent and unsettling. One night, Samantha woke up to the sound of whispers. She turned on her bedside lamp and saw Claire standing by the window, staring outside. "Claire, are you okay?" Samantha asked, her voice trembling. Claire didn't respond. Samantha got out of bed and gently touched her shoulder. Claire turned around, her eyes wide and unfocused. "Claire." Samantha whispered. Claire blinked a few times and shook her head. "What happened? Why am I here?" "You were standing by the window, whispering something," Samantha explained. I don't remember," Claire said, looking genuinely puzzled. The next day, Claire dismissed the incident as sleepwalking, something she had never done before. But the strange occurrences didn't stop. Objects moved on their own, and eerie whispers echoed in the room at night. Determined to find answers, Samantha visited the university library to research the dormitory's history. She discovered that room 303 had a dark past. Years ago, a student named Emily had lived in that room. She was a quiet, introverted girl who tragically ended her life by jumping out of the window. Since then, there had been reports of paranormal activity in room 303, but the university dismissed them as mere rumors. Armed with this knowledge, Samantha confronted Claire. "I think our room is haunted," Samantha said. Claire looked skeptical. "Come on, Sam. Ghosts? Really?" "I'm serious, Claire. I did some research, and a girl named Emily died in our room. People have reported strange things happening there ever since." Claire's expression changed from skepticism to fear. "What do we do?" "We need to find a way to communicate with her, to understand what she wants," Samantha suggested. That night, the girls decided to hold a séance. They gathered some candles, a Ouija board, and sat in a circle in the middle of the room. "Emily, if you're here, please give us a sign," Samantha called out. The candles flickered, and the room grew colder. The planchette on the Ouija board began to move, spelling out a single word: help. "Help? What do you need help with?" Claire asked, her voice shaking. The planchette moved again, spelling out, "Find diary." "Where is your diary, Emily?" Samantha asked. The board spelled out, "Wall." Samantha and Claire looked at each other and then at the walls of their room. They began tapping and listening for any hollow sounds. Finally, they found a loose panel behind Claire's bed. Inside, they discovered an old, dusty diary. The diary revealed Emily's heartbreaking story. She was a brilliant but troubled student who struggled with severe depression. She felt isolated and misunderstood, and her only solace was her diary. Her last entry spoke of an overwhelming darkness and a desperate need for someone to understand her pain. As Samantha and Claire read the diary, they realized Emily's spirit was trapped, reliving her torment. "We need to help her find peace," Claire said. "How?" Samantha asked. "By acknowledging her pain and letting her know she's not alone," Claire replied. Samantha and Claire decided to perform a ritual to help Emily's spirit move on. They lit candles, placed Emily's diary in the center of the room, and held hands. "Emily, we understand your pain," Samantha began. "We acknowledge your suffering and want to help you find peace. We are here for you," Claire added. "You are not alone." The room grew colder, and the candles flickered violently. A shadowy figure appeared near the window. It was Emily, her face a mask of sorrow. "Thank you," Emily's voice echoed in the room. "I just wanted someone to understand." With those words, the shadowy figure dissolved, and the room returned to normal. The eerie feeling that had plagued room 303 vanished. After the ritual, the strange occurrences ceased. Samantha and Claire felt a profound sense of relief and closure. They continued their studies, and their bond grew stronger. One evening, as they were studying, Claire looked at Samantha and smiled. "We did something good, didn't we?" Samantha nodded. "Yes, we did. Emily can finally rest in peace." The experience left a lasting impact on both girls. They realized the importance of understanding and compassion, not just for the living but also for those who had passed on. Room 303 became a symbol of their shared experience and the power of empathy. Samantha and Claire knew they would never forget the haunting of Room 303 and the lesson it taught them. The story of Samantha, Claire, and Emily is a reminder of the power of empathy and understanding. Often, people around us are silently battling their demons, and a little compassion can make a significant difference. Whether it's a friend, a stranger, or a restless spirit, showing empathy can bring peace and healing. In the end, the haunting of Room 303 wasn't just a ghost story, it was a tale of connection and the enduring impact of kindness.